Hello, my dear. Rhonda Constant, your favorite hometown medium, physical energy healer, oracle card advisor, paranormal investigator, voice for your loved ones. How are you today? I don't think I've done a reading for you before, so I'd like to explain real quick kind of how this works. I see, hear, feel, sense, know. They talk to me, but they also show me pictures, and I call it spiritual charades. I try to describe the picture the best I can. They never waste a message. They don't waste their energy. So there's always a reason for whatever they show or say. So if it doesn't make any sense now, keep it in mind because you'll either see it later, remember it later, or somebody else will validate it for you later and go, oh, I know what he's talking about. This is not exact science. We communicate the best way we can. Sometimes you got to stretch it outside the box a little bit. Sometimes they'll just give me one word. Hopefully it clicks with you. Keep it in mind. He's drumming his fingers on my head like you do on a table. Like impatient, come on, what's your hold up? Kind of thing. You could feel this too. Maybe not this exact instant. And I will also say, when you're in real deep grief, and to me, this is so back-ass word, it doesn't make any sense to me. When you're in really deep grief, they try to bring you signs. They mostly like smells, sounds, and using their energy to maybe touch or put a big boulder in the living room and ask them to move it. That's probably not going to happen. So those are the things that the electronics easy for them to do with their energy because we don't have these fingers to move things anymore. So know when you're in really deep grief, it's harder for them to get through. It's harder for you to see the signs. Sometimes you may have to wait till it relaxes a little bit. Don't know why, because that's when you really need to hear from them and know that they're okay. So to me, that's backwards. But I don't get any say-so over it. So anyway, we're gonna talk to your dad. He's telling me to shut up. Shut up and get on with it. He's talking about somebody humming. Somebody humming. Somebody was in the room singing to him, humming something. You don't even have to be in the same room to be doing that when you were, right before he passed. You'd be thinking about him and humming some little ditty, maybe something you used to sing to you when you were little or something. It seems like it's going along that line. Because when we're really close to passing, sometimes we've already got one foot on the other side. I know that sounds a little weird. It's hard to explain. So you don't even have to be in the same room when this happened for him to know that you were doing that. So he's trying to validate that he knew you were doing that and he heard you. Somebody was petting his hand, even though he looked like okay, like he didn't pay any attention. He knew somebody was stroking his hand, but he's not saying whether it was you. He's referring me to my friend the night before he passed, and there was several of us in his room, and we were all talking stories and laughing and joking about our buddy because he was our buddy. And even though he was not awake, I could see his breathing change. Like he wanted to get on the conversation and tell a story about himself. I could just see when it got to certain points, I would go, he's hearing us. He hears us. Even if somebody's in a coma, they still hear you. Say my uncle had a brain tumor. When I walked in the room, my brother says, "You don't need to go see him. He doesn't know anybody." He walked in the room. He couldn't talk to me, but he talked about me. So I knew that he knew I was there. So don't ever doubt. They know you're there. And I promise you 1,000%, he can hear you. He can see you now. Talk to him all you want to. He's talking about somebody strumming a guitar. I don't feel like he played the guitar. Maybe he did. Strumming a guitar. Maybe you do. Maybe somebody really, really close to you does. He's referring to somebody strumming a guitar. Did somebody play a song for him? Maybe not immediately before he passed it. Maybe. Yeah. They don't always give details. They're not always clear. Exactly. He's calling you the artful dodger. So I don't know if there's somebody you're dodging, if there's a project you're dodging, something at work that you're dodging and just keep trying to get out of doing it, or something about artful dodger. And, and he's giggling. He's giggling. So whatever it is, he thinks it's funny. He says somebody thinks that the funeral arrangements were not enough. They didn't do enough. They didn't make it elaborate enough. And he said it was just fine. Just fine. Says, I don't need this body anymore. I don't care about that. It's just fine. Him personally doesn't care. So if somebody thinks that maybe they slighted him or didn't pay him enough respect, or I don't know what, he's not saying in what capacity, but just the funeral arrangements. Somebody, if it's not you, somebody close to you thinks that it wasn't enough, but he doesn't feel that way. Oh my gosh, I'm going to laugh. He comes over here and he's sniffing. Now, maybe he had sniffles at the end. I don't know. But he's really close to my face, and he's just, first I thought he was like smelling hairspray or something like that. He's close to my ear and he's sniffing. Kind of like he's got the sniffles. So if you hear that, and it might be very slight, you could even feel his presence. You might not till the grief calms down a little bit. You could feel like a little pressure. When my bob gets close, the whole side of my face sometimes gets really hot, but at least my ear does. It gets really, really warm. And when my ear does that, I know he's really close, and I start paying attention. Okay, what do you want? Why are you here? I'm listening. So everybody feels the energy different. So you're not going to feel it the same way I feel it. And you may not feel it at all. You may just hear this sniffling. So know, whenever he gives you a sign, or even if you just think something's a sign from him, validate him, acknowledge him, tell him you love him, and ask him to bring you more signs. Don't demand, don't yell, go, you have to. I did that. And I had already gotten the same sign 10 times, and I was not acknowledging that that was my sign. So I was the dumb one. So just ask. Give him permission. And they never want to scare their loved ones. So he says it wasn't as bad as you think it was. He says, say it again. It's just like going to sleep. I just went to sleep. And it's okay. Oh, he's being ornery. He says, it's better than some of the ways I thought I was going to leave this world. He's talking about driving a fast car. It looks more like he's got a pickup. Driving a fast pickup, driving too fast. He thought that would be one way he would leave. Getting shot by a jealous husband, I think is what he's trying to show me. He said this was a much better, more peaceful way to leave. And he said all he did was go to sleep. No matter what the physical body might have shown, that's not what he felt with his spirit and his soul. He says, I feel like she needs to know that. And I am okay. And he's got, okay, are you going to show her? Hang on. got grandma. Almost feel like it's more like a great grandma. So maybe it's a great grandma to you, maybe it's a great grandma to him. Don't know if you would, hopefully you would know her. He's showing her as very short, very elderly, evidently, when she left. She feels like a very strong lady, but a very sweet soul. So hopefully that describes her, so you'll know who he's bringing forward. He wants you to know he found her. He's very happy with her. He has utmost respect for her, and still does. He says we just hang out. Okay, he's showing me a dog. It looks like a pointer, a hunting dog, bird dog. It's the color that most German Shorthairs are, but it doesn't look as thick as a German Shorthair, so it looks more like an actual pointer, the white with the liver brown on it. Real short-haired dog. They usually let me know if the dog is with them, if they found their dog, or if the dog's still here. But he's not making that clear. And sometimes they'll bring a dog through that they've met up with on the other side that maybe belong to you or somebody very, very close to them, and he wants them to know that he found this dog, and it's okay. It's perfectly fine. It's happy. But he's not making it clear. Okay, he's talking about rattling something in your kitchen. It kind of looks like you got a junk drawer in your kitchen. Most people do. If not, it's a silverware drawer. So it's going to be those types of sounds, like something's rattled. And sometimes it's like the movie Ghost. And I usually refer to that one because it's probably the closest to how this really works. And when Patrick Swayze was in the subway with the spirit, and he was trying to learn to flick the bottle cap and kick the can. Sometimes it does take a little bit. I asked my mentor, so shouldn't we automatically know how to do that when we get there? Nope, doesn't work that way. So it could take him a little bit to figure it out. I know I've been hearing a lot more noises in my house lately, and they're not allowed in my house without presenting themselves to me and letting me know who's here. But usually you could go open that drawer and you could stand there and stare at it, and it's not going to do anything. But you could walk out of the room and hear it. You could be sitting in the other room and hear it. I don't know why it works that way, but it does. Sometimes I'll hear my refrigerator door shut. Nobody's here but me. I don't know who's hungry, but it's never when I'm in the same room. So he says sometimes you lack the self-confidence that you really need, that you really should have. You think you're less than other people because you have less than other people. He wants you to know that the material things don't mean shit. It's not what you have on the outside. It's not what you have in your house. It's not what you have in your wallet. It's what you have inside of you. He says, frankly, I don't care who gets my stuff. Those things are not important. So no, if there's somebody wanting something or anything like that, as far as he's concerned, that's not important. Because once we leave, we don't need that stuff anymore. It's just stuff. And when we get to the other side, we realize we worried so much about getting a new car and a new house that we forgot that that's really not the most important thing in the world. Yeah, I like my new truck. Dumb dog. He says, I love that you love me. I did some ornery things in my day, but I love that you love me in spite of it. Love is the biggest energy there is. Actually, love is the highest form of energy there is. Love is the ultimate energy we're supposed to be reaching, but I won't talk about energy. Again, he says, I love that you love me. It's going to feel, I'm trying to get him to show me, hang on. And when you talk to him, you don't have to talk out loud. You can talk telepathically. He can hear you. I talk to a real live person telepathically right in front of me. Something, he's not sad. And when we get there, we're not sad. We don't have all those heavy earthly emotions like that. But it's like there's a teardrop that falls in it. I'm trying to get him to show me where it's going to land. I don't know if it's going to be on your face, like you might feel one drop of water. Or you might find a spot on your shirt. He's kind of over in this direction, and maybe he hasn't quite figured out how to make it happen or where to make it land. Could be the problem. Something about a drop of water. It's kind of like teardrops fall, but that doesn't mean he's sad. That doesn't mean he's crying. But it's his show. He can show things however he wants to, within reason. He says, okay, with that, he says, he's talking about the sweet smell of something, but he's not saying what. A lot of times they'll mention their shampoo, perfume, some kind of sweet smell, and you'll just get a little whiff of it. It's almost like flowers, so I don't know why he's doing flowers. But you could be in your car. There's mornings that I wake up and I smell chocolate chip cookies. Like I said, they're not supposed to be here without me knowing or allowing them. And I've never figured out who that is. They don't present themselves. I just smell the chocolate chip cookies, and it happens a lot. I go, hello. So you can be, in your house, in your car, outside. You can be in the store. Doesn't matter. You get that sweet smell. It's like I said, it's like a flowery smell. But I don't know why he's presenting that smell. So maybe there's something associated with him that smells kind of sweet and flowery, lilacs, jasmine, something along that line that I wouldn't associate with the man, but there could be a reason for it. Maybe you'll know. Anyway, with that, he's going to leave. He says, you get these things down and I'll bring you more. I just want you to know I'm not that far away. And if you're having a problem with something, stupid phone, if you're having a problem with something that he was good at helping you with here, ask him. Ask him for help. Just put it out there, simple. I need help with blah, blah, blah. And then watch and see what happens. Somebody could call you, and it won't happen like right that instant. Not usually, anyway. Or you could run into somebody in the grocery store or anything. It comes across any way that they can make that energy come towards you. So don't be afraid to ask him, but it needs to be something that he would have been good at here, that he understood how it worked here. I always tell people, if Uncle Joe didn't have a pot to piss in, don't ask Uncle Joe for financial help, because he didn't understand how to make it work here. Okay, with that, he's leaving. I want you to know I love you. You should not have any regrets at all concerning me. None. I hold none against you. Nothing at all. And he's saying it as he's walking away. Nothing. You have nothing to regret. Nothing. He just keeps repeating it. Okay, Daddy's gone. Much love to you, my dear. Thank you for allowing me to be his voice. Rhonda Constant, your favorite hometown medium, physical energy healer, oracle card advisor, paranormal investigator, voice for your loved ones. Later.